Our Seaside Band. Sounding good. Always, always. Hello, welcome. I want to invite you to come on in and take a seat if you're out in the family room. Be lots of time to socialize afterwards. Come on in. I have some announcements for you this morning, but before I begin, I want to take just a moment to introduce the practitioner that's holding the light for us this morning, Practitioner Bob Greer. Thank you, Bob. Seaside practitioners are always here for you. It is our honor and our joy to pray with you, for you. Please know that on Sundays, we're always here for live prayer. You can go to the side door here, which is our prayer chapel, and a practitioner will greet you there and pray with you. Also, you can write a written prayer request and put in the prayer request chest where Bob is sitting. The forms are back there, and those are distributed confidentially to all the practitioners, and we'll pray with those prayers for a few weeks. So please don't leave here with anything on your heart. Please find a practitioner and allow us the honor of praying with you. We have some stuff coming up. We have next Sunday is our Heart to Heart Sunday, and Animal Meals. Anna Mills is the Heart to Heart program that will be here, and we're collecting food for animals. It's an organization that supports pets, and so canned food. Next Sunday and the Sunday after, we're going to collect canned food for animals. So if you're at the grocery store, pick up a can or two and bring it in with you next week. Coming up soon is our Interfaith Shelter. Every year we participate with a group of churches in the area to host a place for the people that have no homes over the holidays to stay and live. And our time this year is December 7th to the 13th. So sign-ups will be soon in the family room. Save those dates. What we look for is we look for people that can bring in a meal, a dinner meal one night during that week, and also people to spend the night. So if you would like to do either one of those positions, please be ready to sign up. Sunny Goodwin will have the sign-ups in a few weeks here in the family room. So that's always a wonderful place to give back during the holidays. While we're on the holidays, I have a little announcement. The Youth and Family Ministry, in conjunction with all of our other ministries, always supports our holiday parade, the Encinitas Holiday Parade. And it's that time of year again to start decorating the float and getting ready for the parade. It's the first weekend in December. And so today you'll see our Youth and Family teacher come on in, Melissa. She's there with her little elf hat walking by now, but she'll be here. Look for the lady with the elf hat. And you can talk with her about being part of the team that's going to decorate that float. They are meeting today in the Youth and Family building after service, so you can head up there and be part of that. New Member Sunday is coming up. We have it 2 or 3 times a year. Trudy's in the family room. Hi, Trudy. It's the table with all the happy faces on it. We want you to be a member here at Seaside. If you've been thinking about that, if it's something that calls to you, if you're wondering what the heck does it mean to be a member, see Trudy. She has all that information for you. We have a new member class on October 26th that you would attend, and then a new member Sunday on the 2nd is here at service. We have you up on the stage, and we welcome you to the Seaside family, and then we all go out to lunch together afterwards. So see Trudy. The applications are in your program today, so you can fill out the application and turn that into Trudy. Also, we're looking for sponsors, and we're doing the whole very different sponsoring new members. So if you are a current member of Seaside and interested in sponsoring a new member, also see Trudy in the family room. That's coming up. Today after second service, or today after this service, here we are at second service. Today we have our wellness ministry is meeting in the Emerson room, and that is our former SAGE group, has changed their name now, the Wellness Support Group. So they are here with Dr. Tillotson, and they'll be in that room after service today. Cafe on Lake is open today. They're starting their tamale orders for the holidays. If you haven't been around here for the holidays, the De Leons always make homemade tamales, and they're a big hit, and they're starting to take orders today, but they're also serving the tamales today. So if tamales for lunch after service today. And that is if you want to stay for the wellness group, or Rosedale has a class. So come on up and tell us about your class, Rosedale.
Everybody, if you want to know this teaching, all of us have different ways of bringing stuff to you, and it's all good. So here's how mine is going to go this afternoon, one of them anyway. First, you're going to understand who you are by a quick, open, and receptive mental deep meditation. Then I'm going to teach you why you need to feel inside your body to manifest. Then I'm going to show you how to manifest. So you need to be there. So I'll see you this afternoon.
Yay! Yes. 1 to 4 today, have lunch. Join Rosedale in the Rose Room behind the stage here for a wonderful workshop. Coming up in a couple weeks, we have our own Reverend Lori with a 4-week class, and she's going to tell you about that.
Hi there. Raise your right hand if you have ever cooked an egg in a pan. Raise your left hand if you have ever taken a picture. You know, both of these things require creativity. You know, I don't know the spoon. I have a 4-week class entitled Spiritual Expression and Creativity, or something like that. I can't remember what I called it. But we'll be really revving up our creativity and our perceptions of what is creative. We'll be looking at our playful sides. We'll also be doing some mind mapping and also creating a chant or a rap music. Please be with me.
You going to clean up your spoons, or? Reverend Lori's always a lot of fun, so join her for the workshop. May need a little rap. Okay, good. Also today, it's sign up for Sacred Circles. Our Sacred Circles are small, intimate groups that meet in someone's home. We have, I believe, 9 circles out there. We have spots for about 120, 25, something like that. So we had sign-ups at first service, and now you have the opportunity to sign up. Reverend Tammy's having a Sacred Circle here on Monday nights in the sanctuary, so that'll hold more than a normal home would hold. Mostly it's like 12 to 15 people in each home. But the Sacred Circles are based on The Trance of Scarcity, the book by Victoria Castle. Victoria Castle is going to be here on November 9th for a workshop. The books are for sale in the bookstore today. The Sacred Circles start next week, all based on Dr. Christian's message for the next 6 weeks. And it's a chance to take the Sunday message a little deeper in a small, intimate group. So sign up today for a Sacred Circle near you. And with that, would you please stand and greet your neighbor? And please remain standing for the congregational song.
Good morning. Please remain standing for our congregational song. I'm going to sing one and you sing the rest. Oh, let me love in a holy, holy way. Oh, let me love in a holy, holy way.
Let me love in a holy, holy way.
Oh, let me know that love is all around.
Let me know that love is all around.
Oh, let me know that love is all around.
Let me know that love is all around.
Oh, let me love in a holy, me love in a holy, holy way.
Oh, let me love in a holy, holy way.
Oh, let me live in a holy, holy way.
Let me live in a holy, holy way.
Oh, let me live in a holy, holy way.
Let me live in a holy, holy way.
Oh, let me know that love can heal us all.
Let me know that love can heal us all.
Oh, let me know that love can heal us all.
Let me know that love can heal us all.
Oh, let me live in a holy, holy way.
Oh, let me live in a holy, holy way.
Oh, let me live in a holy, holy way.
Oh, let me live in a holy,
Come on, Bob.
holy way.
Give it up for those fellas. Oh, let me serve in a holy, holy way.
Let me live, let me serve in a holy, holy way.
Oh, let me serve in a holy, holy way.
Let me serve in a holy, holy way.
Oh, let me care for those around the world.
Let me live, let me care for those around the world.
Oh, let me care for those around the world.
Let me care for those around the world.
Oh, let me serve in a holy, holy way.
Oh, let me serve in a holy, holy way.
Oh, let me serve in a holy, holy way.
Oh, let me serve in a holy, holy way.
Oh, let me love in a holy, holy way.
Let me live in a holy, holy way.
Oh, let me love in a holy, holy way. Let me love in a holy, holy way.
You guys are sounding good. And good morning, Seaside. Whoa, what a joy it is to be with you on this fabulous day. Little hint of fall in the air. Can you notice it? Yeah, well, you're Southern California folks because nobody else can. But it's there. I can tell. I can feel it. I got long sleeves on. Actually thinking of a coat next week. So I'm gearing up for it. But anyway, welcome to Seaside. Wherever you may be on your spiritual journey, know that you are welcome here. It is a spiritual community that loves and cares for one another. It's a place without judgment. It is truly a spiritual home where you are welcome for who you are. The invitation has been sent, and you are on the list. So welcome to Seaside. Wonderful things continue to happen at Seaside. Miracles continue to unfold. And one of the wonderful things that happened this week for Rebecca Jade, on Monday, San Diego voted her album the #1 album of San Diego for the year. Best blues album of the year. That's so fun. But you know what's even cooler for her? Is that this week she is committed to being the official new musical director for the Seaside Center for Religious Science. Told you things happen good for Seaside all the time. So, and you know why? It's because we put Spirit first all the time. And so to take us to that deeper place right now is a wonderful, masterful practitioner by the name of Kathleen Lees.
That wonderful energy. Join me for a moment of stillness. What a joy it is to be in this beautiful space that we have created together out of our faith and our love for one another and our respect for who each and every one of us is. Knowing that we put God first always is what brings us together, lets us learn and share. And so I'm grateful for the words of Dr. Christian today, because I know that they are divinely guided and are speaking to each one of us individually, as well as all of us as the family that we are. So knowing this is true, I release it to the universe for divine right and perfect action, for I know that is what is so, and so it is.
God is real, God is magnificent, God is light, God is love. I am real, I am magnificent, I am light, I am love. We are real, we are magnificent, we are light, we are love.
And so it is. Good morning. I'm Reverend Tammy Mars. It's my joy to welcome you here today and to invite you and to remind you that in this very moment is filled with the fullness of God. So in this very moment, I just invite you to sit back, to open up, and to allow. For Spirit is awaiting an available individual, available consciousness from which it can flow its blessings. So I know your yes for coming here today, your being here today is just that. Is going to allow you to move from this space out into your world, overflowing with the good of God. So I'm so glad that you're here. I'm glad to share this day with you. And if you're new to Seaside, welcome. We just want to say thank you. Thank you for spending your Sunday here. It means a lot to us. And we have for you some gifts and some information about who and what we are on the welcome table in the back. For this teaching is just that. It is a teaching. It is available and usable no matter what your spiritual path has been. It has its emphasis and focus on living the spiritual truths that have run true through all major religions and philosophies and sciences. So it's about the applying of it. It's about the living it so that we be that place that is dispelling, if you will, the blessings. So we just invite you to pick up a packet in the back. I also want to remind you, we have a group that's a wellness support group. And it's led by Reverend Christina Tillotson. And it's the second Sunday of every month, and that's today. So if you're working on affirming and knowing and being in that space of your wellness, I invite you to come to that support group. It'll be after the service today. I believe it's in the Quimby room. It's in the back there, Quimby or Emberson. So come join us for being part of that. Also letting you know that we have a table in the back because Seaside does a fantastic job of celebrating the holidays and making sure that everybody has a place to go. So we have a Thanksgiving Day service, we have a Christmas Day service, we have a Thanksgiving Day feast, a Christmas Day feast, and we bring in the new year with a burning bowl celebration that Reverend Christina leads us in. And so the table is out now, so if you want to help with that, if you want to bring your children so that they can participate in part of being with a larger family or in giving, that's the time to do that. So you can sign up for that in the back too. And I wanted to share with you, I'm blessed. I have a blessed life. And about 10 years ago, I was teaching the foundations class in a daytime class. And I had an individual in that class, and she came up to me about halfway through the class, and she said, I'm from Dallas, Texas. And Dallas, Texas has a very large Unity church. And she was really good friends with the minister, Reverend Ellen Davenport. And one of the things that she did with her was she did all of the research for her talks each week, which meant that if you were talking on the subject of love, she would go through the vast libraries and all those resources, condense them down into a nice little few pages so that she could derive her talk from it. And she says, if you're interested, I'd be happy to do that for you. I was doing the Wednesday night service. For those of you that don't know, I did that for 10 years. I'm like, yes, sure, I'd love that. So we became very good friends, and we became friends in consciousness, meaning that to know the truth, to know the spiritual truth no matter what. She studied and was very involved with Abraham for almost 20 years, had dinner with Esther and Hicks and her husband, and so she was deeply involved in spiritual truth. Well, I was sharing with her the other day, as we meet once a week, and I was sharing with her that Seaside was needing a new roof, and we needed to raise $85,000, and we needed to do that in 4 weeks, in a month. And her being so immersed in the church business and having all her men of her friends, she thought, yeah, right. And so she was out of town, and I came back and I said, we did it. We did it. And she literally teared up. And I want to bring her up to share with you her gratitude and just her expression of what an incredible miracle that was. This is Laura Shepard.
So I just want to look at you people for a little minute here. Wow. Wow. Who are you people? Exactly. But how cool is it to be here, be able to be in your presence? It's just, I was in awe. Because as she said, I know sort of the workings of the church behind the scenes. And I know one of the things I know is when something comes up and big money is needed, that can often be a challenge. And $85,000 in a month seemed like a whole lot of money. And the other piece that she told me was not only did you raise $85,000 in 4 weeks, but the Sunday offering was not affected. Who are you people? Because, when you have to dig deep, sometimes you don't give as much to other places. And that's a common thing when there's big fundraisers in churches, is you say, okay, I'm going to give to the roof. And then you just sort of, don't give as much on Sunday. And you guys didn't do that. And that just brought me to tears. I was just in awe. And even when I told Ellen, my other minister friend, she was just astounded at what you guys have done. And I just had to come. Not that I like speaking in public, but Tammy asked me to, and I was honored just to gaze at you people and just know this community, this family that you've created, and how much you care. I mean, what an expression of love, because I don't think collectively you guys had just $85,000 just sitting around. I don't imagine it was like super easy, but wow, you guys stepped up to the plate. I have goosebumps. And to honor the building that houses this beautiful spiritual family. You guys are the best. And I'd like to invite you to just look at each other and know how awesome you are. And stand up and give yourselves a big applause. You guys are awesome.
We are good. God is good. And so it's in that space that I just want to anchor in that feeling while our hearts are open and our knowingness is high as we anchor in this service. So I invite you to turn within with me. As we fully let go, we just simply let go of anything that might be obstructing, anything that might be in our way, and we let go and let God roll through and as each and every one of us completely unobstructed. For we stand here now and we stand on holy ground. For this is the ground that the Creator created. We are the individuals that the Creator created, and already supplied within all of us is everything and anything that could ever be needed. It is right here, right now, and I am filled with gratitude that each of us collectively have come together, have seen the presence of God, have known the presence of God, have trusted and surrendered and allowed the gifts and the blessings to flow freely. We are powerful co-creators with the divine. Something magnificent, something incredible happens here each and every moment, for this is a divine idea called Seaside Center for Spiritual Living. And so I send my blessings, my heart, and my knowingness out to each of us as we have come together. For I know that as we give, it doesn't just fill up the moment. It fills up our lives. It shifts and transforms us. It changes individuals. It anchors us into more and more and greater expression of good. And so it's with that I just say thank you, Mother, Father, God. Thank you, Seaside Center for Spiritual Living, as we now stand as that vessel, that vehicle, that example of God flowing with blessings everywhere. And so it is. Amen.
Good morning. Well, it is my honor to introduce the guest artist for today. She is a local artist right here in our own backyard here in San Diego. And we're really glad to have her here because she's been on a bit of a hiatus lately. And she's getting back into the swing of things, doing her music thing. She's an incredibly talented artist, singer, songwriter. Please give a nice warm welcome to Miss Peggy Lebo.
And congratulations. Not only is she an amazing singer, but just a beautiful person. So.
I'm letting go of all that weighs me down, surrendering to this peace I finally found. I'm letting go of doubt and fear till there's only love. Let it shine, shine, shine. Oh, let it shine, shine, shine on me. When the night comes closing in and I can't see, I stumble every step I take as I try to make my way back home. Till I surrender and let the love in me unlock the chains that bind me and find the light inside me, the way I have before. When I let go of all the weighs me down, surrender to this peace I finally found. I'm letting go of doubt and fear till there's only love. have been carrying this past for so long now. With every step I take, it gets heavier each day. I just wanna lay it down. Sweet forgiveness, come and set me free. I don't care who's wrong or right, I'm so tired of this fight. Yes, I am ready to let go of all that weighs me down. Surrender to this peace I finally found. I'm letting go of doubt and fear till there's only love. Let it shine, shine, shine. Oh, let it shine, shine, shine on me. And I will stand here at the center where these peaceful waters flow and feel this love wash over me, 'cause it's the closest thing to heaven that I know. I'm letting go of all that weighs me down, surrendering to this peace I finally found. I'm letting go of doubt and fear till there's only love. Let it shine, shine, shine. Oh, let it shine, 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 shine on me. Let it shine, oh, let it shine.
That is Peggy Lebo. Oh my goodness. Hey, welcome back. I missed you. Oh my. Enough of this hiatus stuff. No more. It was good. Missed my Peggy fix. So it's just wonderful to have your soul and your spirit back. Soul sister, 20 years, just to have you blessing us and gracing us with your spirit. Thank you. Feels good. Let's see what I'm talking about. Upgrading your story. You know, that's just one of the titles you could sit with and contemplate, and you would probably get a deeper message than what's coming out of my mouth here today. It is just one of those clear statements, if you sit with and say, how can I upgrade my story, that you would find your life begin to transform. The message or the title comes from this book that we're going to be using together over the next month called The Trance of Scarcity by Victoria Castle. And it's one of her chapters that is in there. And she starts the first part of her book with a wonderful line that says, if struggle were to get you there, we'd all be there by now. You know, that struggle thing is just not the way in which you have to do life. I mean, you can do life with struggle if you want, and there's a lot of religions out there that profess struggle. You've got to struggle your way to God. Life is a struggle. And I mean, you know, it has its place, I guess, but struggle's just not my approach to doing spirit. My God is one of joy. My God is one of abundance. My God is one of love. My God brings forth a healing expression in my life in ways that are relevant and is not going to leave me in a place of struggle, pain, and agony. And that's kind of the Seaside's approach also. You know, joy is the infallible sign of the presence of God. At least Tehillah Deschardins said that. That's right. So that's how we go about doing that. And we're not the only one who thinks, in this manner. Someone asked Albert Einstein a question, and his answer became one of those iconic quotes that we use throughout our culture. And the reporter said, if you were able to ask the universe one question, what would that be? And his response was quick, swift, as if he has pondered that question many times. And his answer was, is the universe a friendly place? I think that's a great question to ask ourselves, because all of a sudden you begin to live through that story of what it is you think. If you believe the universe is not a friendly place, then you might as well just give it up, because life then will be a struggle. There will be outside influences, there will be victimhood, and you just have no control over it. But if you believe that it is a friendly place, then all of a sudden, you know what? It's your party. And you have got this belief that you're going to go to the party, you're going to greet old friends you haven't seen for a while, you're going to meet new friends, and you're going to bring your signature dish to add to the potluck that is there, because you have something to give, you've got something to receive, and as you receive the blessings, you are not depleting, but rather there is an enhancement, and life is a wonderful experience. And that's the party that you have been invited to. That's the invitation that you have been given that has your name on it. Woo, yeah. Now, I remember as a little kid, my mom would say, dinner's ready, and I'd be upstairs, and I didn't come down. I hear you, Christian, dinner's ready. And I wouldn't come down. Then about the third time, I'd hear this booming voice, what do you need, an engraved invitation? Get down here. Now, I realized I did not need to say anything. There was action that was required on my part at that point. That I needed to take some responsive action there, or I was going to experience a lot more than Mom yelling up the stairs for me to show up. And life will shake you until you get it, how loud you need Mother Nature to get before you realize this is a party and it is your story whether you're going to have a good time or a lousy time. That's right. It's about upgrading your story. Now, it's not as if there aren't struggles, and it's not as if we don't have moments of pain or need a hiatus or a sabbatical or something to recoup and to recover. But life is there to give us that information. If you think it's a struggle, then you need like a Herculean strength to make it through the struggles, that people hold on to these struggles. And it takes every bit of the Herculean strength to make it, to hold on as if, that's an acceptable way to do life. We're not wired to handle that kind of struggle and stress in our body, in our life, and in our world. We are set up so if something is out of balance, if there's holes in the consciousness or the roof or there's something wrong, it is there to catch your attention so you can respond. I mean, if your hands are burning, let go of the electric fence. Yeah. But what do people do? They turn down the volume. They kind of numb themselves a little bit more so they don't hear it. And all of a sudden, the body gets numbed, it gets turned down. We begin to lose touch with our natural information that will assist you to upgrade your story, to remodel your expression in life. And all of a sudden, you're just missing out on the information that you're being given, and you're walking through this life in an inebriated state where you don't even need a Halloween costume. You are a walking dead zombie. And you can just show up because you're not present. It's time to listen to what's going on inside your heart and your soul and your spirit. There's something speaking to you to assist you to upgrade your story. When you remodel your house, you trade in one rug for another rug. In your life, you get to trade in one experience that's not as good or had been good or it served you for a while for the next one and for the next one. And that is what evolution is about. It is the emergence of that greater aspect of your being, and what served you at one time may no longer be what is appropriate now in your life or what is next for you. But Spirit knows that you've been invited to upgrade. Spirit has given you the invitation with your name on it. And if all of a sudden you're caught up in a story that's not working, it's time to take a look at it. There's this young kid, he wanted to be a famous musician. So he quit high school before he graduated and quickly found out that getting a working gig without a high school diploma and no experience was tough. And he tried, and all he could get was playing the piano in seedy bars and where a bunch of drunks didn't even notice he was there. Out of money, he was sleeping in laundromats. The only thing he had going for him was his beautiful girlfriend who he adored and he lived for, and she dumped him. Devastated, depressed, contemplated suicide, but before suicide, he went and he checked out a mental institution. And when he was in there, something changed in him. Something shifted. He saw people that really were sick. And he recognized that there are individuals that are in a lot more difficult place than he was. And if something shifted inside of him that he demanded and decreed that, you know what, there is no person and no situation in my life that will ever prompt me to want to take my life again. Life is too precious. Life is too wonderful. And if things are not working here, then nothing needs to change out there. Something needs to change in me. And if I can't change what's going on in the world, I need to change what's going on inside of me. And so he walked out of that place determined to hit it big in the music business, which didn't quite happen right away. But he stayed determined to it. He stayed committed to that. And before long, Billy Joel just became a worldwide known presence on the music scene. Thank goodness he didn't take his life. You know, and sometimes we got to recognize that God's delays are not God's denials, but I just got to be willing to be committed and to go into the closet, that secret place of the Most High, and pray inside my soul, give in secret, and it says you will be rewarded openly. But it says you got to do your work. You know, Ralph Waldo Emerson says, who you are screeches so loudly I can't hear what you're saying. Yeah, you can say, hey, I'm this spiritual giant, and yet you're trashing people along the way. That speaks a lot louder than your words. You know, you can say, I am generous, but yet nothing extra comes out. Yeah. But if all of a sudden you're doing your work and you're a person of integrity, you don't go out in the world and say, hey, look at me, I'm integrity. I'm integrous. You know, I'm a man of integrity. It's like it is seen. You know, you're not a moral person and need to go out and say, look at me, I got morals here in my life. You don't need to go out there and say, I'm generous in my forgiveness. People will know who you are. Speak so loudly, I can't hear what you're saying. That's right. And so let us upgrade that story within the closet or within the secret place of the Most High, within our own heart and soul, and know that that is what shows up in the world in which we live. And as things show up, pay attention. You know, there's message, there's feedback. Are you listening? Are you questioning? Are you exploring and recognizing that your story may not be another person's story of the same facts? I mean, I can remember one of the stories when I was a kid growing up, Cinderella. So I was a little kid, real little. And, you know, there's just something that never meshed for me in that story. And it was, how come that her glass slipper that got left behind didn't disappear at midnight like everything else? Her dress disappeared, her tiara disappeared, her hair came down, but her glass slipper remained. And so here, I don't know, maybe I was a little philosopher at that time, just questioning that. And so we go back to the beginning of the story where the invitation came out and everybody in the land was invited to the great ball to meet the prince, especially the young women. Everyone was invited. And why didn't she go? Well, the popular interpretation is a wicked stepmother, right? But if you listen to the story, she didn't go because she had the oldest excuses in the book. She had too much to do and nothing to wear. And so she, as the fiesta and the party went on, she remained home working with no wardrobe, and in her own little pity party, and nothing to eat but her sorrow and her regrets, until zoom, the fairy godmother arrives. Ta-da! Instantly, rags to riches, peasant to princess, pumpkins to Porsches. She just, something shifted there in an instant. She went to the ball with one caveat. You got to be out of there by midnight because everything returns back to how it was. And she was the belle of the ball and everything was wonderful. And as the midnight bong struck, she ran and she lost her slipper and looked behind. And the prince, came out to get it. And so, as I think about it, people, don't go to parties because of wardrobe and too much work. True. You can go to the party if you've got the right outfit and you leave the right impression or slipper, and the prince will find it and you will stand down, they'll chase you down, and you'll live happily ever after. Maybe. You need a fairy godmother. Grow up. But the thing is that there is something inside of her in that moment when she was in her dream that was magical. It was her true self. She was fine until all of a sudden she got nervous, until she lost her self-confidence, and she took off. And, I wondered why that slipper didn't disappear. And what I came up with in my little head at that time is like, you leave your heart. I lost my heart. I left my heart in San Francisco kind of thing. She left her slipper in her dream. She left that part of her in that dream, in that fantasy, in that place where it was just beautiful and right, because it's who she was. And that part of her didn't disintegrate because it didn't lose the self-confidence. It didn't lose its nerve. It was living that upgraded story. And in our lives, we got to continue to live our upgraded stories and realize that it's not based upon free time and fashion. It is based upon the consciousness in which we have. And what she probably did with that other slipper was she kicked it off in the back of her closet when she got home to be buried by all the other junk that piles on through the years. And she sat there waiting until its mate and soulmate showed up and said, look, there's a match here. Now, it worked for Cinderella, but it may not be the best approach for us. So what I would recommend to do is get into the closet of your consciousness and start digging through that old stuff and find that dream that is still alive and see if it fits for you today. What makes you happy? What brings you joy? This is how you upgrade your stories. You go back to that part of your being that can resonate with the aliveness, with the joy, that which makes you happy, not that which makes you suffer. So you've got to numb yourself more. It is about remodeling the consciousness. It is about upgrading your story and stepping into that. It wasn't given to you just to tease you. It was given to you something to make real. And so what's important is that you begin to magnify that story as opposed to magnifying the reasons why not. Your career and your culture doesn't matter to your good. It's that story that you begin to believe. It is time to stop magnifying your problems and to magnify your God that is stirring in your heart and your soul, that allows you to uplift your story for a greater expression, for you to walk in this world. And the happier you are and the more joy-filled you are, the greater blessing you are to the rest of us, because you're not pulling us down. That's right. I hear stories after story and disasters about, here's one I can remember from newscasts when the Hurricane Katrina hit, and the news reporters were down there right away, and they were talking to people, and the guy would put the microphone in their face and said, it's terrible, we lost everything. Someone else would say, what was so bad and what was so negative. Everybody was looking for someone to blame, whether it was blaming people, whether it was blaming the government, whether it was blaming God. They lost their water, they lost their electrical, story after story, and this reporter stuck the microphone in front of this one young girl's face, and you could tell she was going to be different because she had a smile on her face, and the reporter sarcastically said, okay, tell me what's wrong. And she said, there's nothing wrong. I'm so grateful to still be alive. I'm thankful to God. I am grateful for my health. I'm thankful for my children. They're okay. And the reporter is thinking, people have been talking about the loss of electricity and the loss of water, and it's 100 degrees, the humidity from the hurricanes going on, and nobody has air conditioning. And he said, tell me, did you lose the electricity? Did you lose your air conditioning? And she said, yeah, I lost my air conditioning and electricity, and I lost my whole house. The floods came in and took my house away. But what I didn't lose was my God. What I didn't lose was my joy. What I didn't lose was my health. What I didn't lose was my mind. What I didn't lose was my children. I didn't lose God, but rather I found a deeper connection with Spirit. That is the story she chose to hold on to. You get facts, and then you get your story of what is going on in your life. And the story we're telling is our story. Let's remember that that is not the truth. It is our story of the facts that are going on in our life. And people report, hey, this is what is going on. And they will say, isn't that terrible? Or life is too short, or it's not fair, or isn't this epidemic horrible, or what's going on the planet, it cannot be. Whatever the story is, and you just get to decide whether you're going to upgrade that story. And like this young woman, she lifted a tide, she lifted a consciousness of not only those that were in New Orleans, but those that were watching her on TV because of how she stood. Her story, like a rising tide, lifted all the boats in the harbor and the consciousness of our planet because she dug into her closet and remembered something that was beautiful and true about herself. You get to decide how you're going to remodel what's before you. You get to decide what stream you're going to flow with in your life. You know, we've got our sacred circle starting in a week. And I just encourage you to be part of that, to sign up, because it is a magical thing to be in an environment of people of like mind that can help lift. You know, it's tough when you're fighting against the current. There's magic when you change and all of a sudden you begin to go with the stream and the current and realize there is a flow that supports you and your consciousness and your story and your magnificence. These sacred circles, it's not like you got to be somebody special. I'm telling you up front, you got an invitation. You can say it's engraved in stone if you want. This invitation has your name on it. You know, Cinderella's invitation had her name on it. She chose not to go. The invitation is out there, and you don't need to be this special person. Then there's not a fence around it where there's a gate you got to pay to get in. There is no cost to go hang out with people of like mind who are willing to work together as a group in breaking the trance of scarcity so the abundant good and the blessings, the richness and the health, the well-being, the magnificence of who you are may flourish in your life. Don't say no to this invitation that is there for you. Say yes. Say yes, because you're enough. You know, Nathaniel Braden, he said, the act of proving yourself is a battle that will go on to infinity. And it happened the day you conceded that it was debatable. Right? You're enough. You've been invited to the party. The invitation has your name on it. You are enough. But the battle will go on into infinity. And that happened the day you conceded that this was debatable. It's not debatable. You're an expression of the divine. Anything and everything you need has already been given. What you need to do is upgrade your story. What you need to do is step in and believe that it's possible. You know, Carl Jung, wonderful psychologist, he said that his patients never overcome their problems. Their attention and energy go to contemplating something else. And because of the lack of the energy, their problems shrink. Got that? They don't overcome the problems. All of a sudden, this energy, this creative storytelling of my being focuses on and begins to contemplate something new, begins to contemplate spirit, begins to contemplate the remodel job, and all of a sudden, what was an issue dissolves. It's gone. How am I going to have the money to remodel? You know what? I'm remodeling, and somehow it shows up. You know, what is it that is calling you? What dream have you left a part of your soul? Go do some soul retrieval. Go grab that glass slipper. Don't wait for it to come knocking on your door, because you will, in your unfoldment, run into obstacles, hurdles, and struggles. But that is not what life is about. You know the story of Mr. Honda? I'll tell you. 1938, this young kid had the idea that to develop a piston ring for the engine. And so he spent his days at school and at night up to elbows in grease attempting to develop this piston ring that he was going to sell to the Toyota Corporation that was in his town. After years going through the little funds he had, getting married and then selling his wife's jewelry to pay to get this product done, he finally completed it, went to the Toyota Motor Company Corporation, and they didn't take it. He went back, humiliated before his teachers, friends saying he was an idiot, but he didn't give up. He rolled up his sleeves and spent the next 2 years. He was clear on his decision. He was able to stay focused. He took the information that was coming back to see what he needed to change here or there, and he was flexible enough to make those changes. 2 years later, he took his idea to Toyota, and they bought it. Success, right? But now the war's getting ready to go, and they ask him to deliver these pistons, and he needs a factory, and there is no cement available because they're gearing up for World War II. He's not going to stop. He brings his friends together. They contemplate, they strategize, and they figure out how to create a new kind of cement, and they build a factory. Success is his until we bomb his factory. Or most of it. There's some of it's left. But as the bombing's going on, he says to the guys inside, or they're, you know what? You see those drums they're dropping out of the plane that they use for the fuel? Go get them, because they have products that we can't get here in Japan for what it is we're doing. And they went and they rounded it up. What he would do is take advantage of whatever opportunity and offerings of spirit and life were there. And it served him well until the earthquake wiped out the rest of his factory. You talk about being knocked down. These obstacles just became like hurdles on a track that he ran towards the finish line. The Toyota came, they took his patent, they bought out what he had, and his money lasted very little time. And because Japan at that time was then rebuilding, recovering from the war, there's gasoline rations, and he didn't have enough gasoline to even go to the store to get groceries. And so his mind says, what can I do? Isn't this horrible? He's upgrading his story here, right? He notices like a little motor, like a lawnmower motor, and he puts it on a bike. And now he has a motorized bike, the first in Japan. He is now the creator of the motorized motorbike in Japan, tooting along to the grocery store. All the neighbors just love it, so he builds everybody these little bikes until he can't get any more motors because, everything's rationed. And so what to do? That's the end of his success? No. But what are you going to do? So he writes a letter to 18,000 bicycle shops throughout Japan asking people if they want to invest. He got 30,000 people to respond. He opened up his factory, got people working. He built this bike, and it was too heavy. People didn't like it, and they didn't buy it. But it doesn't stop there. You see, this is a guy who just kept stepping over the hurdles. He took the information, he was focused, and he was flexible and realized what we need to do is make it lighter. And so he created what was called the Cub. It was a lighter kind of bike, and it wasn't as bulky, and it went on to be a phenomenon in Japan to the point where he won the Emperor's Award for creation in his expression. It just doesn't have to stop. You can come up to something that is horrific and horrible and terrible, and you can label it all you want, or you can say, you know what, there's something else I can do here. There's a new story that is waiting to emerge, and I have been called to be the one to bring forth the new story. Honda, as we know, went on to build the Honda motor cars, which sells more cars than Toyota all around the world except the U.S. Employs 100,000 employees. See, that is the kind of success that is waiting for you on the other side of the hurdles. But you got to be willing to jump over them, not label it as bad, it's terrible. It's just what is there, and it's what I'm going over. The roof is leaking, and let's deal with it, because what goes on underneath is what matters. It is the heart and the soul, is the healing, is the caring that makes the difference within life. But what has to happen is when you begin to get fixated on that hurdle and that story becomes constricting, you have got to interrupt that trance. We get caught in this trance of scarcity, this trance of limitation or constriction, and we begin to believe it's real because these are the facts. Well, these are the facts. They're not the truth. It is the story. The question to ask, is this story good? Well, if we say the story is good, then it has the option of being a bad story. What seems to be more powerful is this story useful? Somebody doesn't call. What's the story? They're a jerk anyway. No one ever calls me back. I'll never go on a date. What story are you telling yourself? You get down to your last grand sitting in your checking account. Oh gosh, I never have enough money to make ends meet. I can never get through the month. Or you can say, boy, I got a lot left. I can be generous. You see, it's the story that we live in our life. And as I was saying before, if you can't change the world, you change your thinking. You don't need to put people through hell for you to be in heaven, but people will try. If all of a sudden you're being this wonderful expression of life, people can say, yeah, right, look at him, what's those all ulterior motives going on there. You ever do something really nice and good and people, oh, yuck, what are you doing? You know? I mean, you could feed the impoverished. You could mow your neighbor's lawn. You could house the homeless for a few days, temporary shelter, and they'll go, oh, there goes Mr. Goody Two-Shoes. Who does he think he is? What you need to do is listen to who you are inside. Listen to what your story is. And let people say, oh, he's just trying to kiss up or whatever it is. And realize I do my work in the secret place of the Most High, in the chamber of my heart and my soul. And I'm going to step out with a deep knowingness that all that I could ever need is provided. I'm going to interrupt that trance of scarcity and limitation with a new story. I'm going to remodel carpet for carpet, but the next level up, because my world is expanding and because I am a place through which the presence of God is touching down in this world. And as I begin to see the blessings of God, even if others are in shock and are talking about the negativity, I know that as the consciousness rises, it raises all boats within the harbor. I am going to be that place of the divine expressing, because I am living a greater story today than I did yesterday, but yet what I know is my story tomorrow is even greater than today. God bless you as you live yours. Hey, let's keep it going as we bring back to the stage Peggy Lebo.
I love when you write the message just for me.
That's it.
Great message. Thank you.
I've been waiting all of my life for this, and I've been searching everywhere for what I missed, 'cause I've been tangled up, I've been upside down, closed my eyes and took a breath. And love is what I found. I give in, I give up to this life and this love with all that I am. Oh, I may fall, I may fly, I don't know, but I'll try with all that I am. With all that I am. I feel the morning sun as it lights my face. All my defenses are melting away. So this is grace. I've been tangled up, I've been upside down, closed my eyes and took a breath, and love is what I found. I give in, I give up to this life and this love with all that I am. Oh, I may fall, I may fly, I don't know, but I'll try with all that I am, with all that I am. I will follow where love goes. I'll stop asking why. I will do whatever it takes. I won't be I've been tangled up, I've been upside down, closed my eyes and took a breath, and love is what I found. I give in, I give up to this life and this love with all that I am. Oh, I may fall, I may fly, I don't know, but I'll try with all that I am, with all that I am. I've been waiting all of my life for this.
Hey. That's Peggy Lebo. Wow, that is beautiful, beautiful. Thank you. Hey, this is the time of our service where we have the opportunity to unite together in our givingness, in the sharing of our gifts and our offerings, stopping to pause to see how blessed our life is, and remembering that the source is not outside, but rather it's something within. It's an opportunity to magnify that expression of being the activity of God. It comes back into your world at the level in which you participate. And so I invite you to listen to your heart and feel the love and feel the gratitude for what has touched and graced your life. And letting go of the expectations of what it is supposed to be, but just remembering what is. And give from that expanding place of love and good. And what you'll find is continue to expand love and good in your life. You get to be the activity of that expression. And so with that, I'd like to invite our ushers to come forward at this time and say thank you to this wonderful crew, and thank you to those that mail in your contributions when you can't be here on a Sunday. It's greatly appreciated, as well as appreciation to those that remember us with the auto tithe, that regular systematic support from your world to Seaside's. That regularity is a great blessing in terms of our ongoing operation. And I share this prayer of gratitude with the most generous of spiritual communities, knowing that truly this is a blessed moment where the fullness of the divine has its way here and now. For the wonderful love and the expression of God moves in this very moment, ever expanding its increasing kinds of ways. For each of us has chosen to be that vortex of that place where the divine touches down. And I know right now that it touches down in ever blessed kinds of ways, enriching our individual worlds in ways that are right and real and relevant, because we have chosen to be that activity of that God expression. That there is no place that God is not, and because the activity is in one place, it begins to resonate through all places. It moves across the matrix, touching all aspects of our being. So grateful to be used by Spirit in this moment, realizing, recognizing the blessings within the individual life, that we take those and send it forth, knowing that those blessings continue to bless and enrich all those with whom it comes in contact. Say thank you, Father, Mother God, for this moment of this divine resonant field that is just so palatable that we live and move and have our being in that grace of God. And so it is. Amen. And together, let us say this affirmation of abundance, which is, Spirit continues to bless my world. Gratefully, I live as the giving expression of Spirit, opening the floodgates of the affluent flow of greater good as my life now. The guys from Seaside, nice job. And so as I stand before this bountiful blessing, I can just feel the love pulsating this very moment, interrupting any thoughts of any trances that are less than the grand expression of the divine, touching down in this very moment as our individual lives and as Seaside as a whole. This has been given with a sense of joy and a sense of love without strings, but just being in that wonderful flow. It is received with a sense of grace and is taken care of in good stewardship, and it is sent forth back out into the world to bring the blessings to all those it comes in contact. It is with a sense of grace and gratitude say thank you, Father, Mother God, for being able to stand witness to the abundant flow in this very moment as our individual lives and Seaside as a whole. And so it is. Amen. Okay. Valerie Rodriguez, one of your board members. Thank you, Valerie. Peggy, it is so wonderful to have you back singing with us. We've missed you. Welcome home. Rebecca, congratulations. Welcome on board. And special congrats on that album. San Diego's #1 in your category. That is so cool. I like that. Reverend Tammy, always a joy to share Sunday morning with you. Your presence, your love, we can feel it. Giving us sound today is Matthew. Giving us the visuals is Marv. And casting it for the world to see is Tim Griffin. All right, great job, guys. And flowers, they're gorgeous. Elaine, happy birthday to you and your daughter, Katrina and Jocelyn. Just very beautiful, so thank you for that. And there's a lot going on at Seaside Day. We've got lunch that is waiting for us. We have got the wellness group that is happening. We've got Rosedale with her wonderful workshop that is going on here. We've got the sacred circles that you can sign up for. We've got new member classes that are going on. There is so much happening at Seaside. Read your Sunday program and just know that we are entering into a month of abundance for whoever's present. So we'd love for you to be present as much as you can. But what I want to do right now is pray, because healing is the thrust of our movement since its conception. And so I invite any of our religious science practitioners to just stand and invite all of us to feel this upliftment, this wonderful life force. And as we stand here in this moment about upgrading the stories, I see a story that's been upgraded. I just got to tell you before I start praying. George Brewmeister shared with me last week his upgraded story. As you may or may not have known, earlier in the year he was put on hospice. And what he shared with me last week is that he failed hospice. They have kicked him out. Congratulations, George. Those are the stories that can transform lives, that lift the consciousness of us all. And I step into this uplifting tide knowing that truly the blessings of Spirit moves in this moment, enriching, blessing each and every one of us. For there is a vibration and a frequency of Spirit that is moving in this moment that knows how to bring a life and revitalization to every cell, tissue, organ, and fiber of the physical being. For there's an awakening and awareness that just activates the remembrance of one's divine blueprint that brings this body of ours back into perfect balance. For it is the continual stepping back into balance. It is tacking back onto course and knowing all that is necessary to continually come back to that center, be revitalized and source so we can move forward into life to do the Dharma, to do that new story, to do that for which we have been called, to enter back into that fantasy and that dream that we had left the slipper and that part of our soul. And in the soul retrieval, we find the fullness with an expression of confidence, of deep knowingness of what each of us has to do and to bring to this world, has everything that is necessary to support that. For truly the story continues to be upgraded. The well-being and abundance continues to flow. Living in an infinite universe, that means all that is necessary has already been given in this moment. And so I let go of my stories and recognize that there are facts, and I choose to interpret those expressions in a way that are useful, that are beneficial, that are uplifting. The do-over is better than what was. Though what was perfect and wonderful and magical, I know the grace of God moves in our individual lives as it does through our prayer requests. Every prayer and our prayer request is fulfilled. For Elwood, who reached out in prayer, his wife in the process, Martha making her transition, that she knows exactly the grace of God and to express. And for Elwood, their daughter Nicole, that truly the blessings of God surrounds them. For our dear friend, Dr. Carlton Peters, who underwent surgery last night, that was a success, that there is instant relief. and healing going on. For our beloved Cliff Durfee, wonderful practitioner at Seaside, that right where he is that wonderful healing power of God. And that though the facts have been presented, there is a new upgraded story every day, allowing him to know the wholeness as a viable option in the physical healing that responds. So grateful to know with God all things are possible, that the glory and the grace and the beauty of God expresses through our individual embrace of the infinite, that it is only limited by our understanding. And so I know this awareness for each of us rises to a higher place, and we see as God sees in this moment, this blessed moment. Hear as Spirit hears, and recognize that the bounty of God is the very experience in this moment. That light, that grace fills this moment with a gratitude and a receptivity, for the offering has been given to us with our name on it. The invitation has come with your name engraved. And so grateful to say thank you for that. Say yes to that blessing, knowing that Seaside continues to grow, it continues to prosper, it continues to be a beacon of light that is thriving, that is pulsating, that is growing and outgrowing all that it has through the abundant expression of that love, of that expanding story. I say thank you, Father, Mother God, for this moment of recognition and realization. Without argument, I just realize as God realizes this truthful moment of Spirit's expression. I let go and I allow Spirit to continue to have its way as my very expression. And so it is. Amen.
There was a time in my life I thought I had to do it all for myself. I didn't know the grace of God was sufficient. I didn't know the love of God was at hand. But now I can say, if you are discouraged, struggling just to make it through another day, we've got to let it go. And this is what you have to say. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. So no more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. Said I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. Said no more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. Seaside, sing! So no more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for
And our affirmation is, I say yes to my emerging abundance. Together, I say yes to my emerging abundance. Touch your heart and say that. I say yes to my emerging abundance. Come on, like you mean it. One more time. I say yes to my emerging abundance. And our song of grace.
I'm living in love. I'm living in peace. I'm living my life. it shines on us all. We are living